Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Getting Over podcast. That's right, we're all here, we're all talking what happened previously on the last wrestling pay-per-view, premium live event, whatever it's called these days. It was always a pay-per-view in my day. Nostalgia. And we're predicting Elimination Chamber. We've got all of the news, and there's some juicy news going on. And we've got all of the predictions and all of the matches coming your way right here, right now. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. Share the podcast around, people. People love the wrestling. You know someone who loves the wrestling, and you know they'll love this podcast. Send it their way, they'll love it. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, Getting Over.
Welcome. If you're hearing my voice first and you're watching on the YouTubes and you can see the shiny background, and these three gentlemen with me, of course, you will know that it is time for the 82nd installment of the one and only WWE-based podcast on the CookieCast network, Getting Over. And now we have the Royal Rumble in the rearview mirror. We are now speeding towards WrestleMania faster than Vince McMahon in a Bentley. Will the road be quite as bumpy? Let's find out. So yeah, along for the ride this episode is the new Getting Over regular, Mr. Max Hepworth. Hello, sir.
Hello.
The old podcast regular, Mr. Paul Williams. Hello, sir.
Didn't like the emphasis on old there.
Yeah, you've got a few years on us.
I could only presume he was going straight to me for that one. Surprised when he swerved. Like that one, swerved. And hit you with it, Paul, like...
And you've just heard his voice. It is the man who we wouldn't be here without, the brains behind the entire operation. And not only does he work out how to get our faces and voices to your eye and ear holes, but he just lends his name to the entire operation. It is the creator himself, Mr. Andrew Cook. Welcome along, gentlemen. Thank you for joining me. Are we all well? Yeah?
For those of you not, because you said that I'm the brains of the operation, it means that we are officially doomed. So yes.
Well, basically, if anybody has got a problem with our faces and voices coming to you live on, a semi-regular basis, that's the man to complain to right there. So we will start as we always do. It is time to go through the predictions championship stuff. So last time out, Max took his very first crown and is looking to defend. With the unpredictability of the Royal Rumble, we couldn't possibly see a tiebreak situation now, could we? 12 points were up for grabs, so it was all to play for. But let's run the results. Let's see where we ended up. So I'm going to do the results in the order that we went through them last time around, and that starts with the Women's Royal Rumble. From this match, 3 out of the 4 of us predicted the winner. Both Max, Paul, and Andy all got Liv Morgan, whereas I got Tiffany Stratton, who was close, but no cigar. You'll be all delighted to hear that nobody got any points for the Iron Woman, most eliminations, and only Max got a point for the surprise, because stupidly I picked Tiffy to win, but didn't note her down in the surprises column. So a nice little start for Max as defending champion there. On the note of the Women's Rumble, in terms of the people who would have scored us points, most eliminations was Lash Legend with 5. Probably should have maybe had a bit more of a thought towards that one, as she has shone in previous Battle Royal situations. The Iron Woman, however, I don't think anybody would have picked out, as Charlotte Flair took that on 59 minutes and 49 seconds. So the longest the Flair has lasted for quite some time, I should imagine.
Now. Keep it savoury. Come on.
Second, does anybody know who was second?
Longest in the women's rumble.
Yep.
Was it Bliss
Nope.
or Sol Ruka?
It was Sol
Oh
Ruka.
yes, of course it was.
But the weird thing about this was that Charlotte Flair lasted a good 9 minutes longer. Sol Ruka in there for 50 minutes and 47 seconds. So the surprise is, go on, Paul. He was going to say something.
I was going to say, I don't know if I just overheard this or misheard this, but I'm sure they said that Charlotte had never been not in the final two or something like that, or maybe the final four. She's in the ones that she's been in, she's either won it or been like last or like third last eliminated or something like that. So
But
this was the first time she's never been in the final four.
Based on that women's division, though,
they had to give her something.
Yeah.
So it was always a case of if she wasn't going to be in the final four, they had to give her some sort of like accolade for the match. So let's just have her be in it for the longest amount of time.
The official surprises were very, very NXT heavy in the sense of we got Lola Vice, Sol Ruka, as Max mentioned, JC Jane and Kalani Jordan all making the step up from NXT. In terms of current roster, just Tiffany Stratton with the return. But the biggest surprise of all of it was husband of current contracted AEW wrestler Bryan Danielson, Brie Bella making a return to link up with her sister mid-Women's Rumble match. I know it was in Saudi, so it's maybe not quite a true crowd reflection, but she did get quite a decent pop, I thought.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I was all right with that one, to be fair. I didn't see it coming at all, but I thought it was a decent surprise. We'll get to it with the men's stuff as well, I'm sure, but I feel like now it's been enough, probably for the last 2 or 3 years, to know that going forward in the Royal Rumble predictions, when we're talking about surprises, let's just pick none. Because it's been pretty flat the last few years now, hasn't it? I really thought this year might be the one with it been Saudi, but
well, they said didn't they, the likelihood of it being surprises this year was going to be harder because obviously they had to do visas, they had to sort of have like flight manifests and stuff like that, so it was going to be more tricky to get people in the country without people knowing. I mean, the simple solution there is don't have the Royal Rumble in fucking Saudi Arabia. But that's just my point. My thought process. But
but that would be far too simple, surely. I mean, the other point I would add to that is if you are potentially not listed to be in the Royal Rumble, but are definitely going to be in the Royal Rumble, maybe not sit behind somebody who Instagrams the fuck out of the entire flight all the way there and appear in at least 3 photographs before you've even landed in the country. Nikki Bella. So there was that point as well. But yeah, as I said, Max taking a little bit of an early lead there by picking off one of the surprises as well as the winner. The next match I had was the WWE title match, Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. I am delighted to say that I picked up a point here, but unfortunately for me, so did everybody else. So everybody had Drew down to win. That was fine. Possibly the shocker of the night, Gunther versus AJ Styles. If AJ Styles lost, he would be retiring from WWE. There's no way he was going to retire at the first big event of the year, was there? He absolutely did. And Max was the only person to put Gunther. So again, taking another little step out into the front there. But it will all come down to the men's Royal Rumble. Me, Paul, and Max all picked Bron Breakker, and that dream died less than 2 minutes in. I think was he officially like 90 seconds or something? Not even like, and I'm talking like just out of the curtain, not even in the match.
I don't even think it was that long. Yeah, I was going to say it was like bell, 10 seconds after the bell, maybe. So
Yeah, so not a great start for us. However, Andy saw that one all the way through and had Roman Reigns as his winner. So, ones to the sky for Andy because that's how many points he pulled for that particular one. Um, we absolutely cacked it on the Iron Man predictions. Nobody got points for the Iron Man. However,
biffed it big time.
Absolutely. And somebody else who biffed it big time with the most eliminations was Obafemi. And Andy pulled that one out, and so did Max. I had Braun Breaker for that one too. Thanks.
Oh,
I know.
I even remember saying on the recording, I was like, "Oh, why have I not gone with that?" At the time, I knew that the lads had an absolute stormer there. So well played.
Well, Paul's pick of Jacob Fatu also all brakes, no gas, I guess, this time around for that one. Surprises again.
All brakes, no teeth.
didn't fare particularly well here either. Neither Chris Jericho, Bad Bunny, Dolph Ziggler, technically Chad Gable didn't show up either. Jericho, again, Ethan Page. LA Knight came back though. And does anybody want to hazard a guess who might have picked LA Knight? That's right. It was Max. So, for the stats from the match, though, for this one,
have we even come close?
I mean that's a conversation for another time and a very different podcast. But we'll go on to the statistics before I reveal that. The most eliminations was Obafemi, as I mentioned, but that was tied with Roman Reigns. So had Andy gone for his winner, it wouldn't have mattered in that category anyway because he would have still have picked up the points. They got 5 eliminations each, so between the two of them, eliminated a third of the field, which is pretty impressive. Again, for the men's match, you could have given me 29 guesses, and I would not have picked the Iron Man for this match as Javon Evans. Whilst he's new, thought he would get a bit of time. I would definitely have had that boy being bouncy all over the front row slightly earlier than 40 minutes and 58 seconds. Since we did it for the women's, any guesses on second in the Ironman stakes?
I'd imagine it was
Obafemi with 39 minutes and 4 seconds.
I don't know if you're going to cover this as well, but I'm pretty sure that something else that had come out was the fact that Charlotte was in the women's rumble for longer than the men's rumble took place.
Oh, I wasn't going to cover that, but it's a very nice statistic. I do like that. Surprises for the men's. A little bit of a mixed bag. They dipped into the AAA takeover, I guess. We had La Parka and Mr. Iguana. Not going to lie, I do like a little bit of Mr. Iguana, so I was happy with that one. And a little bit lower key, I guess, was the original El Grande, not Chad Gable, though. It's the original El Grande, made his return. And a debut for the man formerly known as Powerhouse Hobbs, now known as Royce Keys in WWE. And correct me if I'm wrong, hasn't made an appearance since.
I don't think so. Well, unless you're classing being on Stephanie McMahon's podcast as an appearance.
The one WWE podcast that Michelle McCool hasn't ruined just yet. No, he's not. I've not seen him on anything. I didn't know if they would drop him into NXT, to be honest. If they were stalling on putting him on Raw or SmackDown, I thought with the NXT title picture being a little bit light at the moment, we might get him in there, but nothing as yet. Anyway, we've done it the other way around this time. We've been through results of the event, but now it is time for the results of the predictions titles. So, in fourth place...
Are we doing Paul's numbers?
Paul's numbers?
I don't remember he was drawing numbers out for the first half. So,
well,
go ahead.
Well, wasn't this the tiebreak situation? Just in case we needed it.
It kind of was. I mean, we can go through it if needed. Do you have to hand the numbers that won the rumbles?
It depends. Does it have a negative impact on my result? Or?
For everyone that you pulled out for Max that didn't win, can you knock a point off him?
Yeah, I mean, this is completely unrelated, but I somehow have lost the numbers that Max was given. I've only got the other three of us. It's strange.
What a
it's
terrible
very
mistake.
odd.
Anyway,
so
don't worry, I've written them down.
I'm just going through it now. So let me just double check. So
written them down, printed them out, laminated them, stuck them on the fridge. It's
Liv Morgan was the winner of the Women's Rumble from 14. And Roman Reigns was the winner of the Men's Rumble from 26. So 14 was owned by Andy, and 26 was owned by Stu.
If I tell you, in 4th place with 1 point was me, so that taking that as an extra point anyway wouldn't even put me up to 3rd on my own. It would only be good enough for joint third. So me technically on my measly single point. Absolutely pathetic excuse for a set of predictions. But yeah, you guys would do loads better, right? As I've said, in 3rd place on 2 points was Paul. He already knew that was coming, I believe. So yeah, thanks for coming. Next up, the points tally sit on 4 for second and 6 points for the winner. So in 2nd place on 4 points is Andy, meaning the champ is still there, ladies and gentlemen. He's only gone and retained on his first title defence, extending his run as the Getting Over Predictions champion. Congratulations, Max.
Thank you very much.
This would be the point where if I had a soundboard, we would be like playing and cheering and shit. But you'll just have to put up with us for pretending not to clap so loud that the microphones go wacky.
Okay.
Anyway, moving on. The news section is what we come to next, and not a great deal. Obviously, a lot of news came out of the results and stuff. We have had Liv Morgan as the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble. Has made her choice, so she will be facing the Women's World Champion Stephanie Vaquer at WrestleMania, and the winner of the Men's Rumble, Roman Reigns, wasted no time at all. Wasn't it less than like 48 hours or something before they got to Raw, and he basically went to try and rip Punk a new one. So it's going to be up to now Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. We'll cover why I put that caveat in there a little bit later on. The fallout, though, from the show, the main thing was, like I said, the AJ Styles retirement. Very much unexpected. I think the done thing is generally that you'd probably at least push it till WrestleMania to retire. But it has come out since in interviews that he has done. He didn't want to do that, not to be different, but because he feels that that WrestleMania itself has actually lost a little bit of its luster, as it were. So he decided to do it at the Royal Rumble, given that was the event that he made his debut at all those years ago. So nice little full circle moment for him. But it was actually left until Raw just this past week to put out an AJ Styles tribute show. And lots of names from AJ's past, including Abyss and Kazarian from his TNA run, alongside the Good Brothers, Anderson and Gallows from, well, everywhere he's ever been, showed up alongside members of the WWE roster, new and old. Carl Anderson, in an interview after Raw, revealed that a conversation he'd had with AJ, apparently lasting injuries may have played a role in his decision to retire slightly earlier than anticipated. But ultimately, the man himself has said it's to spend time with his family, so you can't really argue with that. And at the end of all the tributes, AJ was surprised to learn that he will take a very, very well-earned place in the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2026 at WrestleMania this year in Las Vegas. So, have we seen any of the tribute stuff? Did anybody get a chance to catch any of the highlights? No.
I saw the Hall of Fame thing. It felt overly drawn out. It was kind of obvious what was happening. Yeah, the pauses, I was like, get on with it. Like let's speed this on a little bit. Come on, let's get to the work.
Also, as well, why is it now become Undertaker's job to be the one that issues the surprises?
He commented on that. He was like, it's his responsibility now. But I don't. Is that his like unofficial title?
I think it's mainly for the fact that Triple H was definitely too scared to tell his wife because she would have like absolutely ripped him one at home. And AJ Styles, there was a rumor, wasn't there, going around that he was possibly, whilst he was retired from WWE, he was maybe looking at an AEW run. Apparently, a very lucrative offer had been made. However, he has since come out and said he's definitely retired from wrestling in the ring, but he's not retired from WWE as a whole. They have offered him another role, but more details I think are to come out about that. Apparently, he has signed at the very least a Legends deal, which will take him through to the Mania appearance and probably beyond for the Hall of Fame stuff. Exactly, Paul. I mean, also as well, don't forget that Mick Foley didn't renew his Legends contract, so they've got a mankind-shaped hole burning in their wallet currently. So they probably have a little bit of extra Hell in a Cell cash floating around. So yeah,
it's a little controversial on the old Mick Foley one, wasn't
it? Yeah, well, you can't blame him. Like he's never been a guy who's been sort of shy of. What's the phrase? He's not backward at coming forward about his feelings. So, obviously, with the current setup of WWE having slightly stronger ties, maybe, or not stronger ties, but strong ties with the current presidential administration, he decided it wasn't in his interest to renew. So, fair play to him. He's taking a stand in the way that he can, and he's not going to not make money by not being part of WWE. He just might have to sign a shed load extra autographs, that's all.
His one-man show always seemed to do pretty well, and I imagine that's something that he could potentially just tour for the rest of his days if he wanted to. I'm sure.
Yeah,
it's one of those things. Like I was in a position to maybe have gone to see it, and I ummed and ahed, and in the end I didn't, and it's something that I've always regretted. Because I've seen the stuff that sort of came after it, and like he's been on podcasts and talked about like what the show entailed, and I've always been like, man, I think I really missed a good one there. So it's absolutely something that if it came round again, I'd definitely go and see it. So.
And to be fair, I've been lucky enough because I saw it in Newcastle and in York as well. Wholly recommend it, and it was different both times as well. There was a certain, obviously at some point he's going to talk about the Hell in the Cell, but it wasn't the same both times. I mean, that guy's got an entire lifetime and beyond's worth of stories that he can spiel, so he's never going to be short of material.
Well, I was going to say the one constant that seemed to be in all of his stand-up things was the fact that he would dress head to toe in Santa-based paraphernalia, and not just any old Santa. It was top and bottoms Santa.
Yeah,
and he said it takes a certain kind of guy to go double Santa, and it'd be the middle of August or whatever it was that we saw it, or something like that.
Yeah,
which I did think was quite funny. But yes, it was a very good one-man show when we saw it at the Barbican.
Yeah, I think he is touring in America again at the moment, but I think he has done dates over here since with Inside the Ropes, because the first time around it was when it was being promoted more on the comedy circuit with Chris Brooker and Carl Hutchinson, and but I think it's more that it's since then is now sort of more in line with the actual wrestling promotion, sort of evening with kind of style stuff. Anyway, we shall move on. We digress slightly onto good old Mick there, but other stuff that's happened since the Rumble. We've had a mystery crate appear. Now, I'm not talking like one of these ones where you open it and there's like an autograph inside and like a bottle and other bits of wrestling merchandise or absolute tat.
A gun for your Call of Duty character.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, on Raw a couple of weeks back, a huge crate was delivered, emblazoned with "Deliver to WWE. Do not open until the 28th of February 2026," and that on the front side of it. Just so happens to be the date of the Elimination Chamber event. What do we all think? What is going to happen with this?
So obviously, I have a vested interest in the speculation that is flying around this crate because two names have been mentioned as possibilities of who might be in them. And obviously, I've been banging a certain drum for a few months. However, apparently, word on the street is neither of those two names are going to pop out of that crate.
So, who are the two that you've seen?
Your boy Jericho is one, and Mr. Daniel Housen is apparently the other name that is floating around. And apparently, word has it, neither of those names will be uttered as leaving that crate.
Well, Danhausen was the one I'd heard. I don't think it would be Jericho. I don't think Jericho would be overly happy with it because I feel like, I don't know, he just needs it to be a little bit more about him. Whereas the Danhausen thing, it's a little off the wall and kind of fits a little bit more. And if we're really to believe that it has the crate itself has been shipped around from pillar to post between Raw and SmackDown and then to Chicago for the Elimination Chamber, there's only really one man or beast that would survive that journey. And obviously, using his mystical powers, I would go with Danhausen over Jericho every day of the week. So who's the other one then? Because I haven't heard anything else.
I just had Jericho and Danhausen as
Okay.
as the possibilities, and apparently, I was reading something earlier today. Whilst out trawling the internet for tidbits and predictions and the like, something was saying if those are the two names on your list, don't expect to see them coming out of that crate. So I'll take either.
Obviously, huge Danhausen fan, so I'd love it to be Danhausen. Max, did you have anything on that?
Well, I read somewhere that Jericho has had clauses in his contract. So when he was away doing his other things / injuries, they've been classed as contractual breaks rather than, so that in theory has extended his contract. So I've read that he's still classed as an active AEW performer. So the chance of Jericho kept end up at minimal, but I don't actually know how true that is. I read it earlier on today and thought, throw that out there. I haven't received a plane ticket to go to America, so it's definitely not me. It wouldn't surprise me if it ended up being some form of is it like pre-order bonus for 2K26 that they're plugging in some horrific way, and it's just going to be a massive damp squib. Wouldn't surprise me.
Well, technically, if they were going to go down that route, the pre-order bonus for 2K26 is the Joe Hendry pack. So somebody only needs to say his name around the crate, and obviously he shall appear. But as he's now the current NXT champion, I'm not convinced on that one either.
Yeah.
Unless there's a DLC pack that they've not mentioned yet. I still think
Stu?
It'd also be funny if it was over Ferry, because they've been doing all them vignettes and stuff for him arriving on Raw and SmackDown for the last few weeks. Obviously, had a decent showing at the Rumble. But I just think it'd be funny because for as big as that box is, I'm still not sure his thighs would fit into it.
And surely the box would be doing this, wouldn't it?
You could find out, you could stand outside it and just go, whoo. And if it did it back, you'd know it was him. So anyway, we shall move on from the mystery box. The last little bit of news I've got for this one is was actually provided by Mr. Cook himself, sharing amongst the group that the car crash footage from Vince McMahon's car accident last year had been revealed. For those of you that hadn't seen, Vince was followed by a state trooper and was clocked at doing over 100 miles an hour in his Bentley, managed to clip another car, then hit the left lane guardrail and then back into the middle of the road. Left behind clouds of dirt, lots of debris, and plenty of destruction. Thankfully, nobody was seriously injured in the incident. However, debris also hit a car travelling on the opposite side of the road. McMahon was cited for reckless driving and following too closely, but has since been put on pre-trial probation, which basically results in the charges being erased from his record in October of this year, providing that he has no further misdemeanors. He was also ordered to make a $1,000 charitable donation. Now, the moral of this story, gents, is if you want to go for a super speedy drive, cause loads of shit on the road, just be absolutely minted, because it doesn't matter if you're...
The moral of the story is it pays to be rich, because obviously not only is the crash footage part of the bundle that's been released, so is the way he was treated by the law enforcement officers, who were all very nice to him, pointing out to him that they know who he is, and they were very nice, and they weren't going to do too much. They were just going to do this, and just going to take a little bit of time. And I'm sure he's going to struggle to put together that $1,000. He might have to check a second sofa, maybe. I think a lot of what sort of come off the back of it is just how disgusting it is. That if that was anyone else, that it'd be jail time instantly. There'd be all sorts of dangerous driving charges and beyond for anyone else, and they were literally like, you don't need to worry about it, sir. And that's pretty disgraceful, because ultimately, absolutely, if I'm honest, when he was talking on those videos, I was like, I think you maybe want to do a little strip test on him, because he looks like he is on something. Obviously he'd been in a severe car crash, so maybe he was struggling with that. Maybe he had a concussion. But yeah, he definitely seemed to not quite be fully with it.
Did you when they spoke to him and they said, like, where were you going so fast? And he said his granddaughter's birthday party. Okay, so he's not ashamed to use the grandkids to try and get off a ticket either, then, by the sounds of it.
I can't imagine there isn't much that man would be too ashamed to tell.
The two strange coincidences about when this happened, and this is the last thing we'll say before we then move on. I mentioned debris hit a car traveling the other way. Obviously, that car stopped. The driver of that car was wearing a WWE t-shirt. And the second thing, which I hadn't realised was, until looking up for the research, was that it all happened on the same day that Hulk Hogan passed away. So maybe I might suggest that Vince was possibly, I'm not sure on the timings of it, but maybe he was aware that something was going down, and the reason he was speeding was not related to any kind of child's birthday party, but he was probably trying to get somewhere fast to speak to people about said goings on. Obviously, if the timings work out. Maybe that's just me with my tinfoil hat, who knows. But yeah, that is it for the news section, which does just give us the chamber predictions to do. So, let's get to it.
Recording in progress.
So we're heading into Elimination Chamber weekend. It comes to us live this coming Saturday, February the 28th, from the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. This is going to be the 16th time that the Elimination Chamber has had its own self-titled event. But of course, we have been getting Elimination Chamber matches since all the way back in 2002, where Shawn Michaels became the inaugural winner, taking home the World Heavyweight Championship at the time. At the time of recording, we only have 4 matches listed. As always, the card is correct at the time of recording, but much like the men's triple threat match on Raw this last week, is very much subject to change. So those 4 matches, I have the Women's Elimination Chamber match, and that the winner will take a shot at the WWE Women's Championship at WrestleMania. We have a World Heavyweight Championship match. We have a Women's Intercontinental Championship match. And then, of course, we have the Men's Elimination Chamber match. And the winner of that one gets a shot at Drew McIntyre's undisputed WWE title at WrestleMania. So, we'll go through them in that order. So we'll start with the women. The Women's Elimination Chamber match sees Tiffany Stratton, Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Kiana James, and Raquel Rodriguez all competing for that spot. Qualifying matches have been all over WWE programming for the last few weeks, with all the women in the match earning their way into the chamber via triple threat matches. Tiffany Stratton defeated Chelsea Green and Lash Legend to claim the first spot. Rhea took the second spot, defeating Ivy Nile and Lyra Valkyria. The third confirmed entrant was Little Miss Bliss after Alexa beat down Julia and Zelina Vega, before Asuka claimed the 4th place, taking down Bayley and the very much new look Natty, not Natalia anymore, because Michael Cole's new favourite phrase, I don't know if you've noticed, is Natalia elevates, Natty dominates, and then he changed it to decimates this week, so it's just like, all right, we get it, she's supposed to be hard as fuck now, just crack on. The last 2 places were taken by Kiana James and Raquel Rodriguez, who won their triple threats against Charlotte Flair and Nia Jax, and Io Sky and Kairi Sane, respectively. As we mentioned before, Royal Rumble winner has chosen to face Stephanie Vaquer, so the winner of this match gets the shot at Jade Cargill, currently on the big stage. Who is getting that title shot? Anybody want to lead off? Where do we think this is going?
I'll start us off. I think this is probably the most open match of the night, in as much as I think literally any one of the 6 could win it.
Apart from Kiana James, right?
Well, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of people that don't really make much sense. I mean, I'd be kind of annoyed if Tiffany Stratton won it, because it's basically just running back the storyline you've basically just been telling for the past, 6 months? So for me, the only sort of logical one on there is Alexa Bliss.
Interesting. Not where I thought we would end up with that one.
I'd seen something where someone was throwing out an idea of, you have Raquel win the chamber match, but not face Jade at WrestleMania. So she wins the right to have a title match, but then uses it to cash in. I know it's not a cash in thing, but she uses it some way to get herself inserted into the World Heavyweight Championship match. But I think that's probably a little bit far fetched, even for WWE standards.
Okay. Well, I'll jump in next then, because I completely disagree with everything that Paul said.
Awesome, lovely stuff.
In the sense of, for me, Tiffany Stratton is absolutely going to win. I'm not going to roll out the absolutely no way quite line. But 2 things. We all know how well my Royal Rumble predictions went, so it's probably shite anyway. And secondly, just looking at the names for me, Tiffy, I think, will win. Rhea Ripley and Alexa Bliss will end up in some sort of multi-woman match together on opposing sides, because of the whole link with Io and Charlotte. Asuka obviously thrown into that mix somewhere down the line as well. Kiana James is absolutely not ready for Asuka nor the main event of WrestleMania. And the only other one that I could see winning would be Raquel. But as Paul mentioned, I think it's a bit of a stretch to somehow get her into the Vaquer match. I can't see them using the women's elimination chamber as the thing that removes Liv Morgan's backup. I think they'll do that naturally when the Judgment Day finally dies a death. And that only leaves Tiffy. So, yeah, I've got the chamber to be absolutely Tiffy time. Max, do you want to go?
I think it's going to be Rhea Bloody Ripley.
Oh, 3 different predictions off the bat. Okay.
Only because I think the Tiffany Jade match last year for the title was incredibly flat. And I don't know if they want to go and bang that drum again. I think Rhea's been away. I know she's the tag champ, but she's been away from the title picture for long enough now. And I think they'll bring up thing. They need this show in Vegas to be very big. And I think Rhea Ripley's the biggest name, gets the biggest pop out of all of them. And I was kind of leaning towards Tiffy, or I was also thinking Raquel Rodriguez, but personally, I think they kind of poo-pooed on Raquel during the Royal Rumble. I was expecting a lot more from her in that match, and I thought they were going to give her, well, I think I had it down as my most eliminations. I was expecting them to turn her into this monster, and it didn't quite happen. I kind of feel as though the ship might have sailed for Raquel, which is why I didn't pick her. So Rhea Ripley for me.
Okay. In fact, 3 out of the 4 of us had Raquel as the most eliminations in that match, and obviously didn't come to fruition, as Max points out. So, 6 competitors in the match. We've picked 3 of them so far. Andy, where are you going? A 4th different one? Oh, okay.
Hey, I'm absolutely with you, Stuart. I agree with absolutely everything you said. I should have gone second so that I could get in with the. I like what you've done there, Paul, but you're completely wrong. In fact, so far wrong that definitely tipped that. But yes, I'm with you. I think every other person in this match has got other things going on for the next outing. So yeah, it's tiff time for me. Just as an aside, I did see something today that I don't know if any of you have seen or if you've seen any comments on this. A thing going around that apparently they're struggling to sell tickets for WrestleMania.
Yeah,
now, obviously, we've had a conversation about, I don't know, the price of tickets for WrestleMania. So it's almost no surprise that they would struggle. But as what is basically the biggest event for them for the year, obviously they have just big events anyway, big events upon big events. To struggle to sell tickets is a bit of a message in itself, I would have thought. So I think that their eyes are probably already on that and what they might need to do to shake things up. So I think all of the names on that list have got other priorities.
It's such a strange one. Like since the announcement that Saudi are getting WrestleMania next year, it feels like there's a lot of concentration in the background of like what they need to like where they need to get to for that, because obviously they'll want to make that the biggest thing in the world. And it almost feels a little bit like WrestleMania has been forgotten, like in the current year so far. Obviously we'll go on to it a little bit later as well, but they're almost paying the price for that by taking their eye off the ball, because now a lot of things seemingly that were already in line for WrestleMania this coming year have now been squished by injury. But again, more on that when we get to the men's match. But leading into the next predictions, the World Heavyweight Championship match, I do think this is why they're sort of keeping things fluid at the moment, just in case they need to add more people into both title matches, I would suggest. In fact, not even just both of the men's titles, the men's and women's, because there's no way that, again, as Andy says, the ticket sales have been publicised as pretty bad so far in comparison to years gone by. There's no way that they wouldn't think twice about chucking multiple people into the main title matches just to get bums on seats. So regardless of the Rumble win, regardless of the Chamber win, neither winner, I don't think, is winning the rights to exclusivity in terms of the title shot, the way that we're going this year. Anyway, that's just me going on a bit of a side rant. But as I said, the World Heavyweight Championship match, CM Punk defending against Finn Balor. Now, Finn Balor recently earned the respect of World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk in a match in Northern Ireland. They kept billing it at the time as in his home country. It's a good job you weren't staying in Ireland for long, Michael Cole, is what I would potentially suggest there. At the end of that match, however, Punk did have his hand raised. He retained the title, but he did make a point to shake Balor's hand at the conclusion. The week after, Punk continued to heap praise on Balor, telling him that he hoped he would win the Royal Rumble. At which point, Balor declared to Raw General Manager Adam Pearce that he was definitely going to be in the Royal Rumble, only to be denied, as all of the spots had already been taken. This infuriated Balor, who then took matters into his own hands by attacking Punk during his match on Raw that night. And 2 weeks later, he interrupted a scheduled interview with Punk to challenge him for the title at Elimination Chamber, which happens to be in Punk's hometown of Chicago. Adam Pearce denied the request so as not to jeopardize the title match at WrestleMania with Punk and Reigns. So you see where I'm going with this one. But Punk agreed to the title defense anyway, meaning that Adam Pearce was pushed to begrudgingly agree. So, based on what I've just said, and I've already gone with it, I don't think he'll win, but it wouldn't surprise me if, as a bit of a shocker, they flipped the title to Finn Balor here and had this as a three-way at Mania. I wouldn't be mad at it either, because I think Balor would probably sneak by that one as well, for the fact that Punk and Roman Reigns would be too busy chipping away at each other. However, for the purposes of these predictions, I don't think that WWE are brave enough to give it to Balor this close to WrestleMania. So therefore, it is none other than Charles Montgomery Punk going in the book for me. Who wants to go next?
I want to get in early on this one because I know where Paul's going. That's where Paul's going with Shanna Hannigan's going on. I foresee Dirty Dom turning up, causing an absolute scene on this one, and potentially causing a situation that might involve Paul's favourite, the disqualification, allowing a retention of the title and setting up a future match between Finn Balor, Dirty Dom.
Okay. So dissolution.
Punk to retain, but not necessarily as clean as it might.
But Punk essentially to win, but yeah, with a DQ thing, right? That's fine. They've been teasing the Judgment Day thing for a while, and Andy might be onto something there. On the basis of on Raw this past week, they also had Balor telling Dom and JD Madonna that whilst they were both off injured, he had to do things on his own. So maybe it's about time they took the same leap as well. So might be onto something there. Max, do you want to go next?
Pick Magnet Punk.
Okay. I'm going to go through all of his names.
I agree with. Pardon?
I'm going to go through all of his names tonight. We just need Paul to complete the predictions by saying Pepsi Phil next, and then we're all good.
I agree with Mr. Cook's statement about there being shenanigans from the Judgment Day, but I still think it's going to. I wouldn't be surprised if Dirty Dom tries hitting Punk, catches Balor instead, and then Pepsi Phil hits hits Finn with the GTS, and then that's the start of the influence. But I think when you put in posters and there's billboards of CM Punk and Roman Reigns for WrestleMania that are kicking about, I think it kind of belittles the match that's going to be happening on Saturday.
Yeah,
that's just me.
Okay. You are in the book. So we have 3 punks with a side order of DQ for Mr. Cook. Paul, where are you headed?
No, it's a CM Punk retention. Yeah, it's like you said. Like it'd be interesting if they actually had the balls to sort of go with the sort of the switch this close to Mania and stuff like that, and shake it up a little bit. But they don't, and that's never been more evident in the fact that Reigns probably shouldn't have won the Rumble in the first place, but because they were so adamant that they'd got all their plans in place, they felt that they had to sort of follow through with that. Whereas it was clear to everyone that you could have made a big superstar by that, having someone like Obafemi win it, or pull the trigger on Breaker, something like that. No, we'll just go with what we know. We'll go with the old tried and tested, method, because it's not working. We've tried nothing, and we're all out of ideas, as I believe Ned Flanders once said, or Ned Flanders' parents once said. Yeah, it's. I think Andy's pretty much spot on. I think that Dom will cost Balor the match, but then that sets us up for Balor versus Dom at Mania, potentially with a little demon thrown in for good measure, just to sort of really hammer it home that Balor's winning and turning face in the process.
Demon thrown in, or JD Madonna for a triple threat for the IC title.
Yeah, I could see that happening. And then you have the proper sort of implosion of the group, which would make sense. So yeah, I could get on board with that.
Feel like that they need to pull the trigger on that sooner now. It'd be nice to get Raquel on a singles run herself as well. They spent a good bit of time building her up to be like the monster, and then now it's like, Liv's back, just go back to being the little thing that she had, or the big thing she hides behind. Anyway, okay, so we went from having a raft of different predictions in the first to all having CM Punk in the second. Will that continue? So the third match, the Women's Intercontinental Championship match, sees Becky Lynch defending against AJ Lee. Now, on the 5th of September 2025, if you cast your minds back, AJ Lee made her long-awaited return to WWE after almost 10 years away. Now, since that point, AJ has been all up in the business of Becky Lynch by association to her husband, CM Punk. And this is well documented with their rivalry. Issues have been just all over the place between them two for the last year. The only real break in the issues has obviously come when Rollins has been either actually injured or pretending to be injured. Exactly. AJ cost Becky the Intercontinental Championship on Raw in November. Distraction allowed Maxine Dupree to take that title. However, Becky did regain the title on the Netflix anniversary episode of Raw in January. AJ, again, decided early February was the time. She'd come back, reminded Becky Lynch that she has beaten her twice, which technically makes her the number one contender. Obviously, Becky said no at first, but AJ continued to push Becky's buttons. Becky completely crashed out and ended up agreeing to the match. And again, AJ's hometown. Strange that, isn't it? How CM Punk's wife and that's now her adopted hometown. Anyway, is Becky going to be the one to take the Intercontinental Championship to WrestleMania, or is AJ Lee going to hold gold in WWE for the first time in now over 10 years? Right. Paul went first, I went first, Max, you go first, and then Andy can have the men's chamber to himself for the first prediction.
I didn't want to go first, but I'll go first.
I don't
I'm
want to go
torn.
first.
I'm torn because I think it would be a waste for it to be AJ's first. I thought this was going to be a WrestleMania moment, personally. And I don't see AJ getting. I don't see AJ getting beat clean. But I don't know if she'd want. I don't know if they want to give a WrestleMania moment of her winning the title rather than going in. So anyway, I'm going AJ. Screw it.
Okay. I felt like you were trying to talk yourself out of that for a little part of that.
Yeah, I was. But I can't. I just can't pick Becky Lynch. I don't like her enough.
Fair enough. Paul, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I've got exactly the same thought process. I think they'll stall on this one. So technically, AJ got the win at WrestlePalooza,
Yeah.
then beat her in the Women's War Games.
Yeah.
I reckon Becky gets disqualified in this one, and then AJ wins the title at Mania.
Okay, so AJ Lee to win but not take the title.
Yes, basically.
Okay. Put you down for the side order of DQ as we did earlier on. Andy, let you go next, and then you're not back to back in.
I've got a similar sort of amalgamation of everything that's been predicted so far. I have Becky to win, but only to drive this on to Mania, where it'll be the other way around. I think Becky will win by cheating, and that continues the rivalry through to Mania to get another bite of the apple. So I've actually just got straight Becky to win, but controversial win, clear cheating, etc., etc., which then means that they can just double down next time round. It's already in the book, basically, barring any injuries, and away you go. It's sort of a done deal, isn't it?
Yeah, I actually have the exact same. And aside from the side order of DQ on the last prediction, that puts me and Andy on the exact same 3 predictions so far. So are we going to pick something different for the men's chamber? I feel like this is either going to be a roll up, grabbing all of the tights sort of a job, or there'll be some sort of like eye poke or whatever it's going to be that's going to cause the Becky to get the upper hand. That way that AJ still has that grievance, but then Becky still has the "well, I beat you last" kind of thing going on. And if they wanted to, if Becky wins because of some cheating, that gives them license to even make some sort of like no disqualification / stipulation sort of thing at WrestleMania for the rematch. So that's but for this time, just to clarify, Becky straight like Andy. Okay, last prediction of the podcast time. It is the men's elimination chamber match for a shot at the undisputed WWE title against Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania 42. In this match, a series of qualifiers took place again. Just like the women's, a whole host of triple threats. This time around, we had Randy Orton qualify, defeating Aleister Black and Solo Sikoa back on the 6th of February in SmackDown. LA Knight on the following episode of Raw took the spot by beating Theory and Penta. The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, claimed the 3rd spot by defeating Sami Zayn and Jacob Fatu on February the 13th edition of SmackDown, whilst Javon Evans punched his ticket, squeezing by Gunther and Dominic Mysterio on the following episode of Raw. Javon is not the only main roster newcomer headed to the chamber. Damian Priest and Carmelo Hayes were beaten by Whoop That Trick himself, Trick Williams. The final spot was supposed to be Bronson Reed. This is what I was getting to earlier. And may I suggest he would probably have been a very strong contender to win the whole damn thing. That was until he suffered a distal biceps tear. A really innocuous one as well, as they sort of usually are, I guess. Went to break up a pinfall and just landed awkwardly and immediately came up and started looking at his arm like it had some sort of alien attached to it. Went down, rolled out of the ring, and the match between himself, Jey Uso, and the original El Grande sort of came to a standstill, really. If I had a chance to see it, there was a point where Jey Uso definitely went over to the ropes at the back to see if he could have a good look at what was going on. And whilst Jey and El Grande looked to be mouthing at each other, they were absolutely talking about whether he was all right or not. But it was done in such a way that, like, if you've not kind of looked for that, you wouldn't maybe see. So, but an audible had to be called. Jey Uso pinned original El Grande to advance to this weekend's festivities, so the field is set. It's actually ended up with a bit of a solid mix of sort of age, experience, and a bit of fresh meat thrown in there. But then that just leads to who potentially is going to take top billing at the show of shows by walking out of the chamber as unscathed as possible. Andy?
So I've got a really long-winded explanation for my pick for this, but to save you all the trouble, I'll just say this: all this has written all over it is we need to do this, this, and this for WrestleMania, and oh no, we lost key players. Like I said, the winner of this match is probably already set in stone until it wasn't, and I think they've had to make some changes. That a lot of those changes don't matter. So I'm just going to give you my answer. And my answer is Cody Rhodes to win.
Okay. I was fully expecting him to say Randy Orton then, so I've had to take that out and put Cody back in. So, okay, Cody is in the book. Paul?
Yeah, it's Cody as well for me, but I still don't think that's the match we get at Mania.
Nope.
Agreed.
At this point, I will eat my own, I suppose, hair at this point because I don't have a hat on. If it's not a triple threat and Jacob Fatu's not involved,
definitely going to be a triple threat.
I mean, like, it's a story they've been telling for what, 2-3 months at this point, ever since Jacob cost him the title at the arse end of last year. So yeah, part of me does wonder if Jacob will cost him the match, but I don't think they'll do it as a fatal four-way with whoever ends up winning the chamber in that sort of regard. So it kind of has to be Cody for me.
I'm going to jump in now. I see your triple threat, and I raise you to a minimum of a four-way at Mania. I think Randy Orton will win the chamber. Orton has got history with Drew McIntyre. The both of them essentially carried the company during the COVID era, and coming out of that, I think they've got a good story to tell and still plenty of time to do that. But obviously that tees up a very aggrieved Cody Rhodes, a still very aggrieved Jacob Fatu, and you can even, if you really want to, chuck Sami Zayn into that equation as well. But I have got Orton to win the chamber. So that leaves Max with the honour, the final prediction of the podcast. Do you agree with us, any of us, or are you going your own way?
I'm going for Cody Rhodes.
Okay.
I don't think Bronson Reed, if he would have been, I don't think he'd have won it. I think the Masked Man would have done an attack similar to what he did to Bron Breakker. And I worry about Javon Evans becoming a Kofi Kingston type role where he gets in these matches because he can perform incredible spots. And Jey Uso, let's face it, is going to clean house at some stage, climb on top of one of the chambers, and we'll have 2 minutes of him going.
Yep. But that'll be the point as well, where we'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will mute my telly at that point and leave the room. maybe even throw my remote at it. I ain't decided. One of the three, or all three.
I can't believe how far he's fallen in 12 months, man. It's just, it's. Do you know what's surprising? He's fallen this far and he hasn't even managed a DUI yet. I mean, that's a new record for the Usos. So it's just unheard of. Okay, so but officially then in the book is Cody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with 3 Codys and an Orton. Okay. Paul's having a lovely time over there in the corner. Okay, so that is all of the predictions in. Has anybody got any other business for the podcast? We good? Okay. Well, that just leaves me to say thank you very much to these fine gentlemen. I will just add on at the end as well. If you're not entirely bored of hearing my voice personally, if you are interested in any kind of wrestling collectibles, I have started running a monthly show on Whatnot. I'll pop the link over to Andy and he'll put it into the comments hopefully, or the titling. And the link will also give you 10 quid to spend for free if you're a brand new member to Whatnot. Lots of wrestling cards for sale, and it's a week from release, so the 5th of March at 7 o'clock. But the link will give you all the details you need and the free pennies to spend. So do come and say hello and mention the podcast. Can even chuck you something extra in your parcel. How's about that? But thank you very much to you fine gentlemen for joining me this evening. I hope you all very much enjoy the Elimination Chamber if you get around to watching it in full. And yeah, thank you very much. We'll see if Max can keep hold of his title for another round of predictions. And next time we join you, obviously, it'll be the big one. It's usually the double header as well. The WrestleMania Predictions podcast coming your way in just a few short weeks' time. So yeah, see you then.
So there you go, what do you think of that? Another one done, another one gone. Well, here we go. Another premium live event in the bag, one for you to look forward to, and then we're on to WrestleMania. Don't forget to check out Stu's Whatnot. If you are into the collectible side of wrestling, Stu will absolutely have something for you. Before you leave us, do consider like, share, subscribe, and comment. Leave reviews where you can leave reviews. Share the podcast around. Check out the website, thecookiecast.com. There we've got social media links and an email button, and that way you can get in touch with us. That is it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
You've just listened to another episode of Cookie Cast. Thanks for listening.